Since the day Unai Emery took charge of Aston Villa, they have been one of the best and most consistent teams in the Premier League. And this season, they are sitting third in the Premier League, just 2 points off the top and in a genuine title race, which is absolutely crazy. Aston Villa haven't won the Premier League since 1981. Won a Champions League also in 1982. So in this rebuild today, we're looking to take Aston Villa back to Premier League glory and European glory using Wonder Kids under the age of 23 only. So strap yourselves in for this Aston Villa Wonder Kid rebuild. Now, to kick things off, we'll be using GWR's Super Unai Emery for the first season in this Aston Villa rebuild, so we can keep it a little bit realistic in this first season. We're not going to be using any transfers, and we're going to be using a dedicated Aston Villa tactic made by the legend of GWR FM, and this video is most likely going to be on Hood's channel down in the description below, so make sure to check out GWR, absolute legend on Twitter, and Hood, the person that releases the tactic videos as well. So massive thank you to them two legends for allowing me to use this tactic for the first season in this Aston Villa rebuild. You can see on screen how good of a tactic it is, and the results are going to be absolutely fantastic, so we'll get to them at the end of this season. There is a superstar though that I want to be building this team around, and that man is Jacob Ramsey. Where is he? He is here, not Clement Longley, that's the wrong man indeed. Jacob Ramsey is the man I want to rebuild this team around. He is 22 years of age. He is signed for Aston Villa in well, he's actually through the academy, which is fantastic. So having a Villatonian come through who is ready to come in and be an absolute superstar in this team. He can play centre mid, left wing or cam. Probably none of this system really suits him too well other than being a striker as a pressing forward. So we're looking to retrain him, potentially change formation in a few years time and get this guy in his best position, a value of £67 million, and hopefully we can make him one of the best players at the end of this 5 years. Well, hopefully Jacob Ramsey has lifted this team to Premier League glory. We've also got players like Ollie Watkins, Moussa Diaby, John McGinn has been fantastic in real life recently, Pau Torres, a brilliant centre half, Emiliano Martinez, in my opinion, one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League right now. I'd put him above Alisson and Edison. Let me know if that is controversial or not down below, but Emiliano Martinez is fantastic. This season we've got the Premier League, Europa Conference League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup to go ahead and compete in. Can we even lift trophies in season one? I am not sure, but let's get right into things. Now, very quickly before we get into season number one's results, I can just say a massive thank you guys for the support in the last couple of weeks with subscribers. I have now got a realistic goal of trying to reach 5,000 subscribers by the end of this season. The people that watch these rebuilds, around 80% of you aren't subscribed to the channel, so just do me a very simple favor. Make my Christmas dreams come true and make 2023 our most ridiculous year I can imagine. Hit that subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so, and it helps me out a ridiculous amount, so massive thank you. And now the season one results. So season one then, we're going ultra realistic using an Aston Villa tactic with absolutely no signings. And how are we going to go ahead and do? Well, we're going to go ahead and bring you guys straight back for the Europa Conference League final, where of course we're going to get that famous night in Europe. The first time we won a European competition since 1982. It's not quite the Champions League, let's be honest, but it is a European competition, and as you saw from the West Ham fans last year in real life, I'm sure Aston Villa fans would take this in real life. Lifting the Europa Conference League is a massive achievement. John McGinn scoring the second goal and Diaby getting in for the third to beat Freiburg 3-0 in a convincing victory. You can see absolutely dominant this formation, and I would 100% recommend using it. It is fantastic in game, and I believe it is built specifically for Aston Villa, and that shows in the results as well. Coming 6th place in the Premier League, getting us back into Europe next season regardless of that competition win is fantastic. 61 points, 18 victories, 7 draws and 13 losses. A positive 15 goal difference is great to see. Second on goals scored with 91. Sadly not on the goals conceded, which is a little bit disappointing in terms of the tactic. I'd like to have considered less goals, especially with a very strong defensive style Unai Emery does create, but it is an attacking variant. It is an attacking aggressive system, and it is fantastic, and I'm a huge fan of it, so big up to the tactic. Possession wise, we're not there either, so we're looking to get the ball, counter attack and score goals, but most shots for and most goals for is fantastic. Data hub wise, you can see that very much in here as well. Conceded way too many goals, and I don't know if this is an attacking variation of the tactic, but why on earth not use it? It's fun and it's realistic as well. So 2.39 goals scored per game in this first season. And of course, a lot of the goals were coming from Moussa Diaby and Ollie Watkins, who are playing as a striker partnership for this season. So Diaby, 22 goals and 14 assists. Watkins, 17 and 9. Bertrand Traore even chipping in with 15 goals and 3 assists. Leon Bailey, 10 goals, 16 assists is also very good. The attacking wing-back of Alex Moreno, 7 goals and 10 assists. And Digne, 2 goals and 14 assists as well, is brilliant. Douglas Luiz, 16 assists. The whole team chipping in this season is great to see. Sadly, in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, we didn't really do anything, which is disappointing, but we still won a trophy in Season 1. Carabao Cup with a third rounded by Hull, and FA Cup quarter-finaled by Nottingham Forest, but luckily we can now kick off our scouting and are finding wonder kids for this rebuild. So in the transfers, we've got £48 million to go ahead and spend, £160,000 in wage budget as well, and we have got our famous scouting recruitments all set up, looking across the world in Africa, Asia, Oceania, South America, North America, Europe, and I think that's everywhere I've said. I think they're all the continents. I don't think I'm tripping and I've missed one, but if you've not seen that scouting video, that was released on the channel a couple of weeks back now, where you can find the greatest wonder kids on the game from hidden nations, and that's what we're using for this rebuild as well. But of course, we are looking to win the Premier League, so we cannot go too cheap. We need to go out there and find some absolute superstars, and money will be spent. So welcome in for Season 2, Victor Boniface. We needed a strike partner for Ollie Watkins, and the Nigerian 23-year-old Victor Boniface is the man I've gone ahead and picked up. This guy, signing of just 22 million, has been around the block recently, starting off in Bodo Glimt in Norway, moved to the Union St. Gill while they had that fantastic European run and a fantastic season before moving to Leverkusen in real life, and I believe he's absolutely smashing it. I know they're smashing it. I imagine he's doing very well as well, and then we've signed him for £22 million. What a signing that is as well. Great finishing, determination, strength, balance and pace up front next to Ollie Watkins could be absolutely dangerous, and maybe even up front in the zone with Jacob Ramsey in behind. Who knows what formation we're going to play? We'll get into that in a little bit, but it is a fantastic signing nonetheless, and of course is extremely consistent and loves a big match. So welcome in Victor Boniface as our first signing of the season. A wonder kid signing going back out on loan to Flamengo is Mateusz Goncalves. Hopefully this guy can become something. Hopefully we see him down the line. We're not going to see him this season, and he's back out in Brazil, but great pace, flair, determination, dribbling and first touch. Maybe Mateusz Goncalves can become our, replacement Philippe Coutinho. He's not very good, and he is certainly gone out the door. We've also signed Brian Zaragoza. Now this guy's just signed for Bayern Munich in real life, so I wanted to get him here on FM24. If you did watch the channel last year for FM23, Brian Zaragoza was one of my favourite players last year. He was my hidden wonder kid left winger that I signed so many times, and on this year's FM he looks fantastic as well. 16 dribbling, 16 flair, 16 vision and technique and acceleration, and he's just signed for Bayern Munich in real life for also the £12 million release clause that he did have in his contract at Granada. So welcome in Brian Zaragoza. £25 million for a brand new right back to contend with Matty Cash is Vanderson. This guy's been signed from Monaco since moving from Gramao. He has been absolutely killing it over in France and looks like a fantastic player. £24 million comes in as a 23-year-old Brazilian with one cap for Brazil as well. Value of £35 million, extremely consistent, loves a big match, great going forward, great defensively and very, very quick. So welcome in Vanderson as our right back. A few more signings still to come. I know another major one here in Kang in Lino. This guy has signed for Paris Saint-Germain in real life in France after moving from Mallorca. A very, very good little player, this guy. He hardly played this year for PSG, hence we got him for just £24 million. He scored 3 goals and 2 assists with a 7.18 average rating, but hardly played. So you know what? Let's try and get this guy to be an absolute superstar. So Kang In Lee is here. He is going to be a fantastic player for us. Great dribbling, determination, flair and pace. Can finish a ball. Can play behind the striker in left wing, right wing or central attacking midfield, which again is a massive bonus to have that diversity. So welcome Kang In Lee. Another huge signing, £25 million, £31 million rising to is Fabiano Parisi. Now last season, Alex Moreno and Lucas Digne were both absolutely fantastic, but I decided to bring in a left back and loan him straight back out to Fiorentina. Now I've done this because I had money spare, so this window was a bit more expensive than I'd liked it to be, but I've loaned him back out so that we get him at 23 years of age. So I've sort of cheated the system where we're signing him at 23. We're not going to see him until he's 24, but he's been signed for Villa at 23 years of age. He's fantastic going forward. Again, great defensively, can go forward, can defend, and for a bargain price of £25 million, this guy is going to turn into one of the best left backs in the world. He's already a leading championship player, can become a good Premier League player. Trust me, by the end of season 5, we're going to overachieve that quite a lot with Fabiano Parisi. So welcome him in. And our last signing has been signed, Omar Kedda. I don't actually remember signing this guy at all. We signed him from Egypt for £2.4 million. I don't know who this guy is, and I must have signed him. He looks great. He's Egyptian, 17 years of age, great determination, dribbling, crossing, first touch, pace. He actually looks fantastic, and I believe he's real as well, not a regen, signed from Z in Egypt. So if you're looking for a wonder kid, Omar Kedda could be a fantastic player for you. I just don't remember signing him and don't know who he is. And the tactic we are using for this season is going to be the GYR 4-4-2. Again, hopefully we can have some very good results. You can see we are going to be locking in Jacob Ramsey in that pressing forward role and Moussa Diaby in at right wing. So we're going to have Boniface and Watkins competing with Ramsey to playing up front. But hopefully this season can be absolutely fantastic. The team is going to be very, very strong this year. We've of course got the Europa League, Premier League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup to contend with. Money-wise, we've spent most of it, but still some money in the bank. We've not completely ruined the club, which is fantastic. In terms of development centre as well, John Duran isn't going to actually develop very well for us. We're going to be looking to sell him next season, and the same goes for someone else. That's next season's issue because I can't remember who it is. So let's get into it. The season 2 results. Hopefully we can get back in Europe again and maybe even lift the Europa League. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We've won the Europa League as well as the Europa Conference League last season in back-to-back seasons. So it makes sense that next season we win the Champions League because that's how it works, isn't it? I mean, you win a European trophy every single year until you win the Champions League. Boniface gets 2 nice and early on before Lazio come back to make it 2-1. Zakagini finds Kamada, gets the ball into the box, and a fantastic finish from Saxon, but we weren't finished quite yet. We're going to make it 3-1. Moreno cut it into Emi Buendia, back to Moreno to Buendia again, into Douglas Luiz to make it 3-1, and Lazio are going to score again, but I quite frankly couldn't care less. A fantastic result and a fantastic sort of performance in the Europa League final, and getting us another European trophy is fantastic, which means we're going to be the Champions League for season 3, which is absolutely brilliant. That is exactly what I sort of expected to happen, win the Conference League and then hopefully come top 4, but you know, lifting the Europa League sort of takes away that we don't need to finish top 4 anymore, which is good because we didn't actually end up finishing top 4. We finished in 6th on 66 points, so again, another progressive season is fantastic. You can see from the goal scored, Victor Boniface was absolutely brilliant, which is good to see. A very, very good signing indeed. 35 goals in 46 games overall is a little bit outrageous, but fantastic signing and one we will touch on in just a few minutes time, because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we weren't done there in terms of trophies. We are also going to lift the Carabao Cup. Now, yes, it's not the biggest cup in the world, but to lift 2 trophies in one season for Aston Villa is very, very impressive. And we just saw how good Victor Boniface was this season. Well, guess what? The other man was also fantastic this season. Ollie Watkins grabs a hat-trick in a cup final for Aston Villa. The first goal was an offensive mistake. The second goal, a defensive mistake. Ollie Watkins pips in as João Virginia comes out to try and claim it. Douglas Luiz wheels the ball into the back stick. Brian Zaragoza, he's a little man. He's not going to win that header, but Alex Moreno gets it in. And guess who's there in the 6-yard box again to make it 3-1? Of course, it's Ollie Watkins. Now, Everton weren't done there. You can see the defensive fragilities of this tactic, making it 3-2. Adressagana gave with a double in this game. The first goal was absolutely outrageous. Branthwaite down left-hand side finds Mikalenko. He gets into the box. A deflection makes it 3-0, but the passion was not to be sort of waned upon. A great ball in from Douglas Luiz, and Tyrone Mings gets his head on it to make it 4-3. And you can see we're also keeping quite a strong Villa core of the team about. The team that started this game was Martinez, Vanderson, Konsa, Mings, Moreno, Luiz, Kamara, Diaby, Buendia, Zaragoza and Watkins. A lot of that is Aston Villa's players in real life, so I'm very happy we managed to keep them there for 2 cup competitions. The FA Cup were knocked out in the 3rd round by Newcastle, but I couldn't care less. 2 trophies in one season. Like I said, a great season for Victor Boniface is fantastic to see. Moussa Diaby, 17 goals, 13 assists. John McGinn, 11 goals and 3 assists. Brian Zaragoza, 10 and 12. Douglas Luiz, 10 and 12. Watkins, 9 goals, 2 assists, a hat-trick in a final. Big game player. Buendia, 7 and 15. 10 assists for Kamara, 10 assists for Alex Moreno. We did actually change formation midway through the season to the overachieving 4-2-3-1, which is my go-to formation. I can't lie. I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and no disrespect to GYR at all. The tactic is brilliant, but I decided the 4-2-4 or the 4-2-3-1 needs to come out, and we needed to get some more players in their key positions. And when the signs were made, I think that makes a lot of sense. So very, very happy with this season. The finances here at Villa are a little bit weird. We seem to be down in the red quite a lot, but once we now are in the Champions League, if we can stay there, I'm sure we can clear this £75 million debt and we can clear this red balance very, very easily. The board have given us £62 million to go ahead and spend for this summer. So let's go ahead and sign some absolute WONDERKIDS stars to take us to that next level. We need to go from 6th to, you know, top 3, hopefully, in the next season. And of course, Ousmane Diomande is someone that can certainly take us to that next level. A 21-year-old centre-back from Sporting CP comes in as a leading Premier League defender for just £43 million at 21 years of age, a value of £88 million. And if you don't know who this guy is, you probably have slept under a rock for the last probably 3 FMs. This guy is that go-to guy and is absolutely fantastic. And I'm buzzing to have a defensive partnership of Ousmane Diomande and Pau Torres. So welcome in Ousmane Diomande. Them stats are absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, he is going to be a superstar for years to come, I am sure. This season was actually quite a low season in terms of signings. Just 4 made. Another one was a backup goalkeeper of Froilan Diaz. This guy was on my South American WONDERKIDS shortlist I released at the start of the year. 19 years of age, can progress very, very well. Argentinian, so he can get friendly with Emiliano Martinez and hopefully be a very good backup to him. He's not quite good enough just yet, but he will certainly get there eventually. A value of £8.4 million. We signed him for just 5 from Union in Argentina and hopefully can be fantastic for us. That average rating of 5.93 scares me a little bit, but he'll get there eventually. We did make one more very expensive signing, a £36 million signing of Mo Darami. This guy has been at Copenhagen, at Ajax, and now at Stade Reims in real life, and we've signed him for £36 million after 2 fantastic seasons in Ligue 1, a 7.36 last season, a 7.17 season in the season before that. He looks brilliant. Great pace, great dribbling, great determination, great finishing, can play up front, can play off the right, can play off the left, which is where we're going to be using him mainly. So welcome Mo Darami. And the last signing is a free transfer from Bayern Munich, a guy I've never really seen or picked up. His name is Noel Aseko in Keighley, and the Noel got me in because obviously it's Christmas time, so we signed Noel to come in and be a rotational DM and potentially to go out on loan. Great determination, great stats all around, and was signed for free as well. So welcome in Noel Aseko in Keighley because he looks absolutely fantastic and hopefully can be a very good rotational option for us in the future. The team and formation looks like so for season 3. It's Martinez, Vanderson, Diomande, Torres, Parizzi, Douglas Luiz, Kamara, Diaby, Lee, and Darami with Boniface up top. The backups, we're looking at Froilan Diaz, Matty Cash, Konsa, Mings, Moreno, McGinn, Tielemans, Goncalves, Ramsey, Zaragoza, and Ollie Watkins, to just show you guys the outgoings we have had over the last few seasons as well. Emiliano Buendia left to El Hilal for £35 million. Mario Bagade and John Duran, 2 young players, both left for a combined fee of around £20 million. £72 million was brought in last season, with 42 of that in Leon Bailey to Al Hilal. Diego Carlos left for £25 million to West Ham as well. Morgan Sanson to Nice for £3.5 million. And the last sort of page of sales it made as well is a double to Bournemouth, Chambers, and then Donker. So that's how we've raised a lot of our money as well. Just selling a little bit of Deadwood, which isn't quite good enough to go on to the next level. And hopefully now, with the squad we've got, the WONDERKIDS we've got, the development we should see over these next sort of 2 to 3 seasons, I reckon we're close. Hopefully we can show well of us in the Champions League and maybe get in to top 4 again. Back-to-back Champions League season would be great for finances and great for building the club stature so we can get better WONDERKIDS in. So welcome to season 3. Before I welcome you to season 3, I need to say a massive thank you to the legends on Patreon right now. You guys are literally helping me so much in life at the moment. I mean, the setup has really improved over the last few months with a new camera, new mic, new PC, and that's all because of the support I get on the videos and of course through Patreon as well, where you do get these rebuild files. So if you want to pick up this Aston Villa save from season number 5, that'll be linked down below on Patreon. I believe it's £5 a month, and again, like I said, it goes straight back into the content and I reinvest into making these videos as good as possible. And of course, if you just want to help support me, there is a £2 tier as well, where it's basically just a massive thank you to you absolute legends. So that is linked down below, and of course you get to pick up this Villa save from the end of season 5 and any rebuilds you have seen recently. The retro Manchester United one, the OG Manchester United one, the Santos one, they are all up there and ready for you guys to plug in and play with if you do so wish. So anything you can do, Patreon down below. Thank you very, very much. Let's get into season 3, which may have been trophyless for the first time in this rebuild, but a fantastic season where we are back into the Champions League again due to the UEFA transfer coefficient rankings, we have come in 5th place on 69 points. So again, another 3 points progression is fantastic. But back in the Champions League due to English teams doing well in the Champions League. Like we did as well. We got to the round of 16 where we got knocked out to PSG, who got all the way to the final and still haven't won it. We lost 3-2 in aggregate, which I am not disappointed about. We won 2-0 away from home to then lose 3-0 at home, which is very disappointing. And in the actual league phase as well, we were very good. 14th place, 4 wins against PSG, Galatasaray, Rangers and Villarreal. Frustrating that we beat PSG 5-1 away from home and then lost at home 3-0. Yeah, don't worry. A draw against Anderlecht and Man City before losing to Milan and Union Berlin. So a very, very good showing in the Champions League, which I'm very, very happy with. Quarterfinal in the FA Cup by Spurs and semi-final in the Carabao Cup by Arsenal. We are getting to the later rounds of competitions and losing to big teams. So it's okay. We are progressing very well as a club. And the goals this season were shared about very, very nicely. 20 for Boniface, 19 for Jacob Ramsey, 14 and 15 for Kang In Lee, 12 for Douglas Luiz, 11 for Zaragoza, 11 for Moussa Diaby, 8 for Darami, 7 for John McGinn, 7 for Yuri Tielemans, 13 assists for Fabiano Parisi on the left-hand side, 8 assists for Luca Digne as well. Matty Cash with 3 assists and Vanderson, wherever you may be, with 7 assists. A very successful season this season, and Jacob Ramsey is progressing very, very nicely indeed. He can now play up front due to that seasons are pressing forward. He can play in shadow striker, and he can also, of course, play off the left. In terms of his stats, I want to see how his attributes have actually gone of all time. We've had some progression, some regression. Now we're not concentrating on the midfield roles, which is to be expected. I imagine by the end of season 5, we're going to see them go up a little bit more in terms of finishing, etc. But 15 finishing is already fantastic. And of course, it's great that he's already very composed, great pace, great determination. So he really is ready to be an absolute superstar. Still no caps for England just yet. We're going to give him that brand new contract that he does so desire, because he is going to be the superstar for these next 2 years. I do hope indeed. In terms of money wise, £65 million in the bank. Finances wise, we're slowly starting to clear debt. £25 million has come off of it. That Champions League money didn't actually end up doing too much for us after a very big summer of signings. So we aren't going to take things too slow, because we're going to bring in one of the best wonder kids in the world. And as a biased Manchester United fan, welcome in Alejandro Garnacho, of course. Because why on earth wouldn't I sign Alejandro Garnacho? And I may have signed him when he's not been his best at Manchester United. But trust me, by the end of this 5 seasons, he's going to be one of the best wingers in the world. I've made this guy fantastic in every rebuild I have done with Manchester United so far. And I'm going to do that with Aston Villa as well, because they have not treated him correctly. Respect my king, Alejandro Garnacho. £60 million, 16 flair, outrageous pace, outrageous dribbling, finishing and first touch. Already a value of £111 million. And like I said, with this new dynamic potential, we can make Alejandro Garnacho one of the best players in the world still at 22 years of age. So I am not worried about him being not quite as good as he could be just yet. Now, a brand new signing in CDM, Linus Giekia, has come in. This guy can play centre-back or CDM. We've signed him from Hertha SBC. They were in the second tier of Bundesliga, gone up to the top tier, and he was equally fantastic. So £27 million that we spent on him. He's got great concentration, great positioning, great determination, great passing stats, great defensive stats, very quick, and is like a very well-rounded player that can do pretty much anything apart from finish. So we don't really want him to go up there and score too many goals, but everything else, Linus Giekia could be an absolute superstar for us. And our last signing to be another winger is Luka Koleosho, and this guy is from I believe from Belgium, but he's changed to American nationality. Signed from Burnley. Fantastic pace, fantastic agility, great dribbling, crossing, first touch. I've wanted to sign this guy this whole FM because he always looks like one of them wonder kids that you can progress into an absolute superstar, and that is what we have done here. He is very, very consistent as well, which is great to see. And we've had to bring him in because there has been a big sale. Brian Zaragoza has left us to head to Arsenal for £60 million. And given the fact that we signed him for just £12 million 2 summers ago, 50 million plus 10 in add-ons, too good to refuse, especially when we can bring in someone like Garnacho for £10 million more, with more progression, more room to grow. This guy is very, very consistent, but doesn't like big matches. So for £60 million, I thought it was a no-brainer to get him gone. And Yuri Tielemans has also left the club, hence the signing of Giekia for £42 million. Yes, 42. He was a backup for us for the last couple of seasons and hasn't progressed all that well. He looks very good, but in my opinion, Giekia is better. He's now 29 years of age and the back end of his career, so For 42 million quid, we sold him, brought someone in for 27 and made the team even better. So a very, very successful sale indeed. Now we have locked in Garnacho in this left wing position, but if we look at our best 11 and actually to replace Kang and Lee with Garnacho, because I'm sorry, mate, you're not going to start if Garnacho is here. We're looking at Martinez in goal, Vanderson, Diamonde, Pau Torres and Parizzi, which is a fantastic defensive line with Getka and Kamara in front of them, Diaby, Ramsey, Garnacho and Boniface as the front four as well. I'm very, very excited for season number 4. I think this team is genuinely good enough to go ahead and compete. And again, when you look at the backups, players like Froylin Diaz, Konsa, McGinn, Watkins, Cash, Koleosho, Mings, Darami, Moreno, Lee, Douglas Luiz, I think we can pull off a Leicester-style season of getting up into that Premier League, getting on top of the table and keeping there the whole season. So season 4, can we do exactly that and lift the Premier League trophy? For the first time since 1981, Aston Villa are top division and this time Premier League champions. 82 points. We were lucky because other teams weren't quite as good as we were in this season. 82 points, a 35 goal difference, 35 wins, 7 draws and 6 losses. A fantastic season from the whole squad. You can see there's not one player scoring lots and lots of goals. You can see Kang and Lee is creeping on to the assist list, and you can see clean sheets wise, Emi Martinez there on 17. A fantastic season where we weren't the best team, but we managed to scrape together enough wins and enough points to win this title. Just 71 goals scored, conceding just 36. A fantastic, fantastic season. That is due to the overall play of the whole entire team. I mean, the goals-wise look so few and far between. 22 from Victor Boniface, 17 from Diaby, 9 from Getka, who I said shouldn't be going up there to score goals, but did exactly that. Garnacho progressed very well with 8 goals and 4 assists. McGinn, 8 and 8, 8 and 7 from Ramsey, 6 and 1 from Watkins, 11 assists from Kang and Lee, 10 from Kamara, 16 from Fabiano Parizzi. I've got no idea how we managed to plug together a Premier League title from them sort of stats, but we have, and it's absolutely fantastic, and the title has been lifted. I am going to do season 5 because we got to the semi-finals of the Champions League as well, where we seem to just be a team that can grind out results. We lost 4-2 in the semis to Inter Milan, but in the quarter-final we went ahead and beat Manchester United 4-2 on aggregate. In the round of 16 went ahead and beat Barcelona 4-3 on aggregate. So grinding results seems to be what we can do, and I think that we can somehow get Aston Villa to Champions League winners in season 5. So we're going to come back and do one more season. We also haven't ticked off the FA Cup yet, which is disappointing. We got 5th rounded by Liverpool in this season, so it'd be good to see if we can win that as well. Carabao Cup semi-final by Spurs again, but we've won that already. That's ticked off my list. I'm not entirely fussed. Finances wise, of course, we are starting to look better. The debt is pretty much paid off now and we are in the positives. So hopefully from here, I have rebuilt Villa to not only Premier League champions, but also a club that you guys can pick up on Patreon, where you are now going to be financially rich. You can go ahead and make a powerhouse club in Aston Villa. But let's do one more season, shall we? Let's see what we can do for season 5's transfers. The majority of signings for season 5 were backups because the squad already has just won the Premier League and players are developing at such a fantastic rate. But welcoming Hector Fort for £24 million from Barcelona. He played 5 games starting this season with 24 off the bench for us here at Aston Villa and was a fantastic player. A very good backup right back, and hopefully is going to be good enough in the future where you guys can make him one of the best left right backs in the world. And the reason left back is on my mind because Behzad Lise has been signed from Başakşehir. Now this guy is a regen sign for £12 million, and was fantastic. A value of £74 million. Progressed very well. Great defensive stats, great determination, great stamina up and down that left hand side. Turkish, 8 caps as well, so an international is fantastic for just that sort of money. Bailey Rice has come in from Rangers, and again some of his stats are absolutely brilliant. Hopefully you guys can progress this guy and be one of the best players to be at Aston Villa, because great natural fitness, great decision making, great determination, great first touch, 17 passing and 17 technique as well is not something to stiff your nose at. So Bailey Rice, welcome to Aston Villa, as well as the last signing we have made, Mario Gilson from KV Mechelen, played 25 games for us this season. Did end up having a big injury due to that determination coming down. I can see that he had a few, actually just a bunch of different injuries, so I'm not too sure why his determination has dropped as much as it has, but great balance, natural fitness, 17 heading, 15 jump and reach, 6'2", fantastic. 16 technique, 16 tackling, 13 marking as well. Very composed, great decision making. Fantastic, fantastic signing. And of course, this season was about trying to lift the Champions League, but that is not all we went ahead and done, because we also ticked off the FA Cup. We gave Chelsea an absolute lesson in football. Our number 8, Alejandro Garnacho, gets us underway in the first minute before, and you can see at the top left just how quickly we destroyed them. Kang Lee plays through Victor Boniface to make it 2-0 in 3 minutes in the FA Cup final, and in 6 minutes, Cucurella into Enzo Fernandez. Garnacho dispossesses him. Boniface plucks it through, and 6 minutes, a 3-0 lead. Within 10 minutes, just a minute later, Douglas Luiz whips it in for Pau Torres to make it 4-0 in 7 minutes. And on the 25th minute, Vanderson finds Diaby on the right-hand side to whip it in to the Kang in, and we just absolutely destroyed Chelsea. We even got a red card in the 49th minute, but it made absolutely no difference. We were fantastic in the FA Cup final, and we've lifted the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the Premier League. The only one to tick off now is the Champions League final. And in this one, guess what? We also faced off against Chelsea in the final of the Champions League. We went ahead and won 3-0. Now, the best thing about this final is the goal scorers. Kellyman is an Aston Villa wonder kid that is already here at the club, and Ollie Watkins is probably the best player at Aston Villa right now. And we're going to see an Ollie Watkins brace and a Kellyman goal in a Champions League final. So we have actually rebuilt Villa very, very well. And we've even used players that have come through the academy. We have developed them very well as well. And Kellyman grabs a second, not a Watkins brace, a Omari Kellyman brace for a Champions League final. What a final that must be as a Villa fan. He played 15 games this season, scored 7 goals and got 6 assists, but just popped up in the Champions League due to an injury to Garnacho in the FA Cup final, and was simply outrageous. Great balance, great finishing, dribbling, first touch and pace. He's probably an Aston Villa legend now, which is fantastic. I mean, he's been here from the very... he's not from the very start. We signed him from Derby for 2.1 million when he was very, very young. So he's basically Villa through and through. He dies for the Villa badge and looks absolutely fantastic as well. So Omari Kellyman, I mean, if anyone ever sees this as friends with Omari, let him know he's a brace in a Champions League final goal scorer. And Ollie Watkins, of course, scoring in a Champions League final is very, very poetic. Now, in the Premier League, we ended up coming 6th this season on 65 points, which has been around our ballpark title other than last season, which is about right. I'm not really too fussed. The fact we haven't won it this year, we won it last year. We've done a double this year. We've lived in the FA Cup and Champions League, so we've won every single trophy. And this season, Ollie Watkins decided at 32 years of age, he was going to go back to being an absolute bagsman and Aston Villa's #1 striker. 24 goals and 2 assists. Boniface with 16 goals and an assist. Garnacho, 13 goals, 8 assists, and them stats are outrageously good. He has now made 6 caps for Argentina, and he is, like I said, going to be one of the best wingers in the world. Very consistent, loves a big match. A fantastic couple of seasons, now being a starter at left wing. And we consider him right now for 90 million if we need us to make the money. So a good signing in my opinion. Diaby, 13 goals and 9 assists. Darami, 12 and 3. Kang Lee, 9 and 10. 14 assists from Gaika, 18 assists for Fabiano Parisi. And that signing now looks like an absolute stroke of genius. To sign him at 23 years of age for £31 million. Let him back out to Fiorentina and then come in here and have an above a 7 season every single season is absolutely fantastic. This Villa rebuild has been very, very enjoyable. There is an Ipswich rebuild coming out on Monday, but if you haven't seen the retro Manchester United rebuild, that is going to be linked just down there, so you can carry on watching the rebuilds. And this time we're going back to 2013 and making Manchester United the best club in the world over the last 10 years.